Welcome, everyone, to our October book group meeting. I am so excited for this evening. I love Halloween. I loved our read this month. It was chilling, just like I thought it would be, and yet it had, I feel like, the right focus on healing. But we'll get into all of that. Gregg is going to join us. I'm so excited to talk to him. It's very nice of him to take the time to do this and to sign all those hundreds and hundreds of copies that he signed of his book, Out of the Woods, which was our featured read. And we'll be careful not to give spoilers away in case you haven't finished the story. We'll try and focus on kind of the overarching themes of the book and stuff so that we don't tell every plot point. But this is the first time we've featured a true crime story. And while I know some people found it kind of difficult because it was dealing with children who were harmed, which is never a nice subject. Again, I felt like the story focused so much on the healing process and how these crimes ripple out and affect the people around even the victim, and how it can make the entire family a victim. And I just thought it was really a worthy discussion that we will be having tonight. So I'm excited about that. Gregg approached this story with such sensitivity and grace, and I appreciated that. And of course, he had to do such in-depth research. So be sure to like and share this video to be entered to win a $50 gift card to the Brenda Novak store. And also make sure you let us know where you're joining in from. I love looking through the comments and seeing that. And if you're brand new to the group, we like identifying our new members. For those of you who don't know how this book group works, it's pretty easy. We have a meeting like this once a month where I come to you live and I interview the author of the book that we've been reading that month. And you have the opportunity to get an autographed copy of that book in the Brenda Novak book boxes, which contain a lot of other really cool, fun, usually reader-related stuff. Sometimes we will do holidays instead. But you can sign up for a subscription at brendanovak.com. And tonight we actually have an after party. This is something that we do for our book box subscribers. It's because of them that we're able to do what we do in the book group. And so to show our gratitude for that, we throw a little after party often after our regular meetings, and we do some fun things. We've had classes before, making chocolate and making charcuterie boards. And tonight we're going to be making some spooky treats. So they're simple and easy, foolproof. Sorry, wrong word, foolproof. And I even made a few in advance just in case we didn't get through all of them. So you'd be able to see an example. And all I did was have the pictures. I didn't even have any instructions. So they're so easy. I think I failed on one, and I'll show you that one. But the rest, I think, turned out okay. So I'm kind of excited about that. So anyway, it's going to be on Zoom. And what we like about changing to Zoom is it enables you to speak as well, and we can have more of an interaction. So if you did not get the link to the Zoom after party, make sure you email store@brendanovak.com right away. We've been announcing this for some time, so hopefully you already got it. But if not, Alexa and Jennifer are standing by trying to make sure they get that link out to everybody so that you can join us and make some of the fun Halloween spooky treats that we'll be making tonight. So in book box news, December boxes are completely sold out. We are so excited for December because we have the return of 12 Days of Bookmas. And what we have done differently this time is we have made each gift that we will be unwrapping like an advent calendar. So it'll start December 1st through 12th. You'll get a cute little bag inside your December box with your other contents that has a gift from each of the authors that we will be featuring next year. So we will be revealing who those authors are as we unwrap that gift one day, and then the next day we'll unwrap the next one, and the next one we'll unwrap it. So it'll be kind of like an advent calendar. It'll be so fun. And the boxes went really fast. We're completely sold out. We didn't reserve enough even for subscribers. We've had people emailing us going, oh, all the subscriptions to get the box are even gone. So we are introducing a new promotion where you can get an autographed copy of the Christina Dodd book if you sign up for a subscription. So it will start in November, but you'll skip for having to skip December. You won't be charged for it, of course, either. But for having to skip December, you're going to get this autographed Christina Dodd book. So if you've been thinking about subscribing and joining us for the after parties and the other fun thank you things we do for our subscribers, now is a great time to grab that book. So, and what we are going to have, the title of her book is A Daughter of Fair Verona, Christina Dodd's book that is signed. And it's going to be tucked inside our cute Bookmas canvas bag as a thank you. So you'll get the little bag with the book inside and make a great Christmas gift or something fun for yourself. So you'll be skip being charged in December, and then you'll be charged December 7th, but that will be for the January box. So you'll miss 1 month. in charging and getting the box. Okay, so from December, or let me say that. Oh, I already went over that. Okay, so Christmas party packages. Sorry, I had to skip down. I got ahead of myself. Christmas party packages are still available. So even though we don't have December's book box left, we do have our Christmas party packages, and we have a new book that we're able to announce you can choose for December's for the Christmas party packages. They're at a cheaper price point because we've had several people say, do you have anything that we can get, for a little cheaper? So we devised trying to do this so that we have both, the full box, and then we have the fun Christmas party package where you can get our lovely ornament that I hope all of you have seen that, the Bookmas ornament that we have for this year. It is cute. I think it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. The little girl holding a stack of books that go up over her head. That's also going to be in December's box, but it's also in our Christmas packages. So you have a second way of getting it at a cheaper price point. And we just added the 12 topsy-turvy, very messy days of Christmas, signed by the one and only James Patterson. So, and I've seen, as sales have come in, I've seen a lot of my older Christmas titles going. So we've got a selection of those. And anyway, you can go on and check out what we've got available if you want to get a Christmas party package. So be sure you save the date for my, well, I hope it's going to be an annual reader weekend. I don't want Alexa to have a heart attack over there hearing me say annual. This is our first Brenda Novak Reader Weekend, and it is going to be to celebrate the release of Meet Me in Italy, which is my brand new book for 2026. It comes out April 7th, so we're having the weekend, that weekend, the 11th and 12th, and it's going to be at a beautiful farm near me in Newcastle, California, but it'll be as if you went to Italy. So we will be following the character's footsteps through the book, through Italy, and we will be showing you a wonderful video that we are going to go back to Italy to make. Actually, we just got the villa that the characters stay in. We just reserved it yesterday. So I cannot wait to go back there. We stayed there for Alexa's wedding for a few days, and we're going to stay a little longer this time so that we can make sure we get a great video for you. We'll be eating the food that they have in the book. We'll be having wine tasting. It's going to be fabulous. So if you haven't signed up for our reader weekend, you're not going to want to miss it. The chef that we have owns a restaurant out here near me, and we go there and try his food all the time just to enjoy a taste of Italy, and we're excited that he's going to be cooking. So the ticket includes all food and activities for the 2 days. We have contracts with hotels where you can add on transportation. So we've tried to think of everything. We have a great goodie bag coming. Alexa just showed me something that she found for it that's really great. So anyway, I hope that you will come see me for the reader weekend. As I said, we're bringing Italy to you. Great fun, food, and all things Dolce Vita. So today, as I promised, we have our author that we read this month, Gregg Olsen. And I actually met Gregg once before at a BoucherCon in San Francisco. And so when I was going through my bookshelves, I found I wish I would have pulled it out for this meeting. I found an autographed copy of the book I bought from him there. So it was kind of fun to find that book. It's been a number of years. So it was really great to read his book. I read it in one sitting, just zipped right through it. And it's always nice, of course, to have a male perspective. We haven't had a lot in the 10 years we've been doing that, but we're going to try and get more. Throughout his career, Gregg has captivated readers with detailed, empathetic storytelling that offers deep insight into extraordinary lives. He just mentioned to me that he did a story that I definitely want to look up, and I'm trying to remember now. It was about the teacher. Remember how she fell in love with that younger student? What was her name? Lex, do you remember her name?
Let's bring him on.
Oh, all right. We'll ask him. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this. Anyway, he's a #1 New York Times Amazon charts, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and USA Today bestseller. Wow, that's incredible. And he's written 10 nonfiction books, more than 20 novels, a novella, and he even contributed a short story in a collection edited by Lee Child. He lives in Olalla, Washington, with his wife, twin daughters, 3 chickens, Milo, which I love. He says, an obedient school dropout Cocker Spaniel, and Surrey, who's a spoiled mini dachshund who wears sweaters. So welcome, Gregg.
Hey, Brenda, thanks for having me. And after that intro, listening to you, you should be on QVC or something. I mean, I would order everything you have to offer. I'm all in on your Italian thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you should come down and sign. We are also doing a signing at the weekend that I didn't mention, where we have some guest authors that are coming from even out of the state who will be signing. So there'll be 200 readers there, and we're going to have like 5 guest authors, and I'm excited to reveal who they are. We've already lined up a few. So if you're
It sounds so great.
we would love to have you. So I saw in your Dateline that you've been on, or in your bio that you've been on Dateline. My gosh, like I listen to Dateline all the
Oh,
time when I'm signing books.
yeah, Dateline in our house, I raised 2 girls, right?
Yeah.
Twin girls, and growing up, the joke was, "Dad, I don't ever wanna be a Dateline girl."
Oh, yeah.
And you know what that means,
Oh,
right? So I
what?
gave them all the tips on how to avoid that, which is, basically you don't go with anyone you don't know. You don't get into a car, you don't do any of that stuff, and you scream when you have to scream. All of
Yep.
that, but don't for anyone listening, don't ever let your daughter be a Dateline girl. We don't want that.
Well, sadly, I think that especially and maybe it's all generations, but in my generation, we were taught to be nice, so nice all the time. And I remember
Mhm.
in college, there was a man who kept calling, asking me out, and I had such a hard time saying no. I was such
Right.
pleaser, you know what I mean? That I knew I didn't want to go, but I ran out of excuses, and so I finally said yes. And I come down. I was in a dormitory. I come down, and the elevator opens, and there's this man standing there who's like 50 something years old,
Mm,
and 19, right? I'm
right.
brand new in college. And I remember my heart just falling to my knees. And I should have known and been assertive enough right at that moment to say, I'm sorry. I did not realize even who you were. I don't want to go out. But I had not been trained. I'm not blaming my mother. It was my own fault. I wasn't assertive enough. And so I felt like I had to do it to be a nice person. You can't, somebody's come all this way to take you out to dinner, right? So he takes me out to dinner, and the entire dinner, all he can talk about is my figure. And I'm thinking, oh my, I was terrified. And then
Right.
after dinner, he wanted to take and show me his house. And this whole time I'm writing there thinking, this isn't good. This is
Right.
not good. So we get to his house, and his son, who was my age, was sitting downstairs. And as we walk in and the door's open to the downstairs, and the son looks up and he sees me with his father, and he got the most disgusted look on his face. And he got up to turn off the TV and leave. And I looked at him, and he looked at me weird. And so he turned the TV back on. He sat down. And then, so the guy took me downstairs, and he was combing my hair, had me sit in front of him.
Oh, God, are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
Right?
Combing my hair. And I'm looking over at his son
Combing
like,
your hair.
don't leave. And so anyway, it turned out fine, luckily. He took me home, and I was so afraid he'd try and kiss me that I literally jumped out of the car while the car was still rolling.
Right.
And so but that has stuck in my memory so much, because it taught me so much about myself, and how I
Right.
I should have been so much stronger and said, absolutely not. Like, this is out of line. Right. But I
This
now
was in the days, Brenda, before Tinder, where you could just swipe away and not have to see him, right? You could
there
block
you
him,
go. Yep, there
right?
you go. So
Well, I'm
tell us,
glad you're here. I think
yeah,
maybe that experience informed a little bit of your suspense writing.
maybe, yeah. Well,
Maybe?
definitely
Was that
taught me what pleasers do, right? And I
yeah.
thought, okay, I've got to be careful of this type of thing in the future. Being nice is one thing, but that was ridiculous. So tell us what it was like to be on Dateline. Was that a trip or what? Like, to be on such a
Here's
major
the I
show.
mean, it's not a funny thing, but the quirk to that one was, my mom died the night before.
Oh no.
Like, so I went and said goodbye to my mom at this nursing home here in town, and then I went to the shoot, but, like, 4 hours later
Oh
and
my
did the
God.
interview.
Wow.
And, somebody said, like, "Well, how could you do that?" And I said, "Well, I think my mom wanted me to be on Dateline." She, she said, "Get it," so that's what I did. But yeah, it was
I'm
Dateline was interesting. I've done 2020. I've done, oh God, 48 Hours. I've done a lot of that TV stuff.
wow.
Those kind of shows are pretty good because they take a lot of time they talk to other people. The worst kind of shows are the news kind of shows where they have you on and they're just saying, they open up your book and are reading it along with you, right? Asking you about it.
Right.
Dateline, they do their homework and they're really good. So it was a good experience. But yeah, it's like I thought, oh, should I cancel? No, mom wanted me to do this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry you had to do it that same day, but
Yeah.
that's amazing that you were able to do it, and be glad that you didn't start out as a romance writer. When they have me on TV, they would especially in the early years, they'd cue this corny music and it would only be on Valentine's Day and
Right, right.
none of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I'm
then they would
like,
ask you for tips, how to keep things exciting in the bedroom, right?
yes, yes. And they asked,
Brenda will now share her top 5 tips.
yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And they never, of course, had read the book, and they didn't
Right.
realize that I recognized that they were making fun of me, and that
Mhm.
the readers in the audience that read these
Yeah,
books, like, it has a wide readership,
right,
right? That we were making fun of them, and
right,
so yeah, I just it's interesting the way they approach that. So I'm
for
sure
sure.
I treated you with the proper respect, which is awesome. So thank you so much for going to the work of signing all those books. Were you overwhelmed when they arrived?
Oh my God. Like even the UPS guy said, I think there might be a mistake here. And then my grandson helped me sign them. He quit after like 755, but I signed them all and then I put them back out for them to come get because Alexa had arranged all of that, for them to go back to you guys. And they said, "Oh, were those delivered by mistake?" I said, "No, but it felt like a mistake because my arm and my hand, that's a lot."
That's a lot.
I do not think, I mean, when I'm really anxious to see like some of your readers, they will see those signatures. And boy, the last few are really shaky.
But they are real and they're pen to
They're
paper.
real.
They
Yep.
really appreciate that. So every month we put up a post asking people to RSVP for the meeting and submit their questions for our guest author, and we reserve one last box for them. So we will give away our last October box right now. And this month's lucky winner is Michelle Brown Bessett. So Michelle, we'll tag all the winners in a post that we post in Book Group in the next week or so, and give you the link where you can claim your prize. That's the only way we have to get everything out, is for people to give us their address and everything through that link. So, all right, now we've got some questions that came off of that post, many of them, and I've thrown in a few of my own. So we would like to get to speak to you about the book and the story that you told us, the true story that you told us. So, how did Out of the Woods come about, and how were you chosen to tell Shasta's story?
That's right. I mean, it happened 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And if you lived in the Pacific Northwest, you would know the story because these 2 children, their family was murdered, they were kidnapped, there were billboards everywhere, and we pretty much had the worst feeling that nothing good would ever happen, that they would never be found until a waitress spotted Shasta at a Denny's restaurant. And we were elated. Brenda, it was like, oh, we were overjoyed that this child lived. And
Yes.
we were sad that her brother
2 months,
didn't.
right? And
Yes.
the odds of getting a child back after that length of time have
It
gone
just
down.
it just wasn't going to happen. It was like a miracle. And
Wow.
here's the thing, you know, I never forgot about the story, and nobody who knew it ever did, right? Because the man was a monster, but we always wondered about what happened to her.
Yeah.
And I've been doing true crime books for a lot of years, and I wrote to her before the pandemic, and we talked, and said, I want to write a book about your story, and but it's your story. It's my book, but it's your story.
Right.
Um, and I need to hear it all. It's going to be from your perspective. And I expected her, Brenda, to like take some time to think about it,
Yeah.
but she decided during that phone call, she said, what you said about it being, what you wanted to hear what I had to say, that was very different than other people that had approached her in the past.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how it happened. And it took 4 years.
Wow. 4 years. Well,
Yeah.
the amount of research that's required for true crime must be just incredible. I mean, how do you keep track of it all even? I mean, that,
Yeah. I have a great assistant now, Robin Lassen. She is amazing, and she did a lot of the preliminary interviews, so she's fantastic. But the thing about, keeping track of everything is if I always felt like as a writer, I was going to give a reader something they couldn't get anywhere else. You're not going to get it in the old days out of a newspaper or a magazine or now off the internet. I'm going to bring you original content. That's my contract with you as a reader. I'm going to give it to you what I can. So I always believe in interviewing everybody in person. A lot of people today don't. They pick up the phone, they're done. And I
oh, wow.
think with true crime, with the way I've approached it, like the great Ann Rule, who
Yeah.
was my mentor, and Jack Olsen, not related to him, but also in that category,
Yes.
they believed turning every stone and getting people to tell you the personal side of the story, not just what the cops will tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you did a good job with that. And I actually, after reading your book, it made me so interested in who Shasta has become that I
Mhm.
wanted to look up some of her interviews. And so today I did watch some of her interviews, and it helped inform like my fill out like I felt like I understood what she went through and the difficulty of the recovery, but actually seeing her and hearing her voice was also
Mhm.
nice. I know you were thinking about bringing her on tonight and she couldn't make it. We're sad that
Mm.
didn't happen, but there are interviews out there where the readers can look them up and hear a little bit from her
She's
perspective, from her own
Brenda,
voice.
she's an amazing person. She is 28 years old, and because this happened when she was 8,
Yeah,
and she is, she's very much of this generation. She likes this, certain kind of music. She's got tattoos, some of them on her face, which, like, as a dad or a granddad, I would say not good. I don't like that, or whatever. But she is, and she's very creative. She writes music. She writes poetry. She is in all regards a wonderful, kind, sweet person that has been dealt the worst hand imaginable, and the
yeah,
repercussions linger every day.
yeah,
It's not about um, being rescued and then everything's fine. It's about dealing with all of that's been done to you
yeah.
for the rest of your life.
Well, and I was very surprised when in the book it talked about the corrective school Vista, or I'm trying to think of the name of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Uh,
Dimpledale and Vista. Yeah,
Vista, yeah. And then a secondary one. I'm trying to remember what was the name of the other one.
she went to St. Anthony, which was a prison.
Of the prison. Okay, yes.
Yeah, the prison one was better.
The Mormon element of that was a surprise to me. I was born in Utah, grew up
Hmm.
Mormon. And so
Hmm.
that perspective, my brother went to, a boys' ranch. My nephew went to a boys' ranch, and so I knew about
Right.
these schools only in connection with Utah. They must have them elsewhere, but for some reason, I guess Utah is bigger,
Utah.
has a
Yeah,
lot
they
of.
have a lot of them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I thought that was interesting, seeing how the church, to a point, played a role in the way they addressed healing and trauma.
I think it's more not so much the church as the church, but it was the cultural aspect of being an LDS person. Like all of the therapists were, they have that background,
Taking
right?
that with them. Yes, yeah,
Right. But and I think they weren't exactly doing a Mormon teaching. It was just more of an approach that didn't work. It just didn't work. And it was like just not going to work for someone so damaged, you know.
well, it reminded me of they had this, and I believe this was somebody in the comments can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mormon Church did have a program for trans people and homosexual people that where they could try and turn their sexuality over.
Yes.
And they no
Yes.
longer do that anymore. But in your book, you mentioned some, I guess they would be.
I never know, Brenda, to call him an inmate or call
I
him
know, yeah, I
a
just have to
student or whatever. But
label it.
yes, there
Yeah,
was definitely some of that. There was an LGBTQ aspect to that where they were trying to undo that in
yeah.
whatever way that they could through their
And that has
therapy.
echoes of that program for me. So that's
Yeah.
why I guess I thought that not that the church informed it, but there
Mhm,
were
mhm.
elements that were taken from what they had experienced because the
For
people
sure.
that worked there, which I thought was
100%.
interesting. So why did you choose to structure the story as you did instead of chronologically?
Here's the thing. I thought it's such a horrific story, right? I mean, the people that are listening now and who've read it, it's to me, I can't imagine anything worse, really, of anything that's ever happened to anybody, because usually when something this bad happens, they're not here to tell the story. They're dead. Okay.
Right, right.
So why structure it that way? It was I felt like the only way into the story was the failure of her therapy
Yeah,
and taking a look at how it was. Here's this little girl who we all were so happy for, and her family was happy, and the community was raising money and doing everything they could to help her, but that wasn't going to do it. That doesn't fix it. So I
yeah.
thought that, that's what I thought. I thought the only way in is through this aspect of this journey to try to heal.
Yes.
And we think in our world everything's done like that,
Right.
but it isn't,
Yeah.
for severe trauma. And everybody, this is what Shasta tells me, and I think it's a brilliant thing. She says everybody here, everyone listening, has had something bad happen to them that they might even think about right now when I mention it. It's in their mind. She says we're all dealing with something. She says mine was different than yours, but no worse than yours because you're still struggling too. I think that is a kind and generous
Oh,
way to
that's
approach the
very generous
life.
to approach it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then that definitely offers hope for people who go through trauma, that if she can handle it with such grace, that hopefully, it's encouraging to
I
try
mean,
and
I
your
want you
own.
to know, I honestly before this book, and I have done a lot of these stories where I have written about people and I have stayed in touch with them over, 25, 30 years, people whose mothers were murdered or whatever. Because in the true crime world, it's those lots of those interviews. Like I said, it's not just like a one and done. You
Right,
do create a relationship. And with
right.
Shasta, I kept thinking, well, why wouldn't she be okay? When do you get okay? And
Yeah,
and it made me really think a lot about all the people I've written about, where I assumed that this traumatic thing was kind of over because I wrote the end.
yeah.
Right?
Almost
I
for
mean,
you.
right. She got married and had a child of her own and blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
and it's like doesn't really work that way. And
yeah.
that to me that was an eye opener.
Yeah, I found that very interesting aspect too. I love the way you focused more on the attempt to heal and all the energy and effort that went into that, rather than the crimes themselves. And I also loved that she was so pragmatic in many ways, very about
Mhm.
her own experiences, and much more open than I would ever have expected somebody to be. Which, in my mind, being able to be open would be helpful to me. But I also loved the community did try and offer a lot of help, it felt like, and a lot of money and a lot of support. And I thought that that was a bright spot in the book as well, when you saw that these communities aren't indifferent to these people who have these terrible things happen, and even strangers step up and give
E-
and try to help.
Everyone wanted to help. And everybody thought they could. Whether they were a fringy kind of friend that gave her drugs at age 10, they thought that would help her, right?
Yeah,
Because in their mind, that'll take her mind off of it. There was a I think a great line from one of the foster mothers that said, "I thought I could love all of this out of her."
yeah,
And I think we all think that. We think when we read a story like that or hear a story, well, if I was there, I could do better. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And the fact is, I want everyone to know all those people approached her with this idea of love and helping her.
yeah.
It just didn't work. There was too much going on that was going to make any of that fix her problem, whatever her problem was.
Well, see, being a romance writer, I'm a happily ever after kind of girl, so that
Oh,
was a
you are.
quality for me to have to face, right? Because I am one of those people who think, all we need is love. Like, if we could love people enough, I do think that love is a huge part of the antidote. I mean, I think that that is a necessary part if you are going to heal. But I know it's not as easy as that, I guess is.
Yeah, I know. I believe in love too, Brenda, just like you.
Good. Thank you for not taking
Yeah,
things to the level. I'm still a happily ever after kind of girl.
I know.
So, did you interview her brothers, Vance and Jesse? Jesse came in at a critical point, but overall, they weren't mentioned a great deal. And I did find myself being a little curious as to how they coped with everything that happened, because it happened to
I,
their family as well.
yeah, I didn't talk to anybody in her family except her cousin.
Okay.
And Robin talked to her cousin. None of them, like either one was in jail or one was on the run, or it's a complicated family. There was no, messages were sent, a lot of them, to
Yeah.
try to talk to other people in this family. And I think also, that does kind of show you the legacy of this trauma and all of it, because they're all fractured and they're all broken apart. They're not, like the happily ever after girl in you wants, those brothers to wrap their arms around this
Yes.
sister of theirs,
Yes.
but that didn't happen. Now she still loves them and wants a relationship with them, but they can't do it. None of them can do it.
Oh, wow. Well, that's just heartbreaking. But I will say there was a lot of dysfunction going on before the incident. So I'm not sure that relationships would be perfect even without the incident.
I do think that Shasta, I've said this before, her unique ability to survive was based on that background, where she could trick the guy that held him captive because she was used to lying to adults, because she'd have to lie to a social worker to protect her mom. She
Yeah.
was used to, being in kind of a bad situation living wise because they had no running water and or a bathtub or anything where she was, growing up. So,
Yeah.
so she had a lot of that background, where I think she was smarter than her years
Very
because of it.
much. I mean, I
Right.
compare what she remembers and how she can articulate it at that young age. I mean, I have a granddaughter who's 9, and I, of course, was hard for me to read about a child that age because
Oh, for sure.
but I also kept thinking, I wonder if Ella would even be able to survive this. I mean, I mean,
Mhm,
I was quite impressed with her
mhm.
and how she was able to matter of factly tell, the police afterward exactly what
She
had
could
happened to
yeah,
her. And
I mean, her first line, no, this is no spoiler, but her first line, and it's a rough one. Her first line to the police is, "I think you should keep my underwear. There might be evidence in it." This is an
that's,
8-year-old kid.
that's the
And
last
that's
thing.
like, to me, that says everything, right?
Yeah,
It's like like, and I think about my grandkids or my daughters at that age, how they couldn't have lasted 1 minute,
yeah, yeah.
let alone, 57 days in the woods with a monster.
Do you think that part of it, toward the end, he was kind of getting tired of the situation himself? Because that's kind of the sense I got throughout the book is maybe this sounded like it'd be great. He'd have them indefinitely. But then after 57 days, he's thinking, what am I going to do? I can't keep hanging out here. And so that's kind of what brought it all to
It's hard to know what he really actually thought because he was awful and crazy and mean and all of that stuff. But I want to put a bow around you right now and what other people have said. They never said in any interview I've done, and I've done a lot, no one says his name. No one says this guy's name who's responsible for 3 child murders, 2 adults, another child, all rapes of children, and all that. I love that because it's in the book,
Oh, it
but
is.
no one cares about him. Not
Human.
no one gives a crap about him.
Yeah.
They only care about her, and I feel like that's why the book resonates with readers. It's about her.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah.
and it humanizes him too much for me. I don't want to know his name. I don't
Yeah.
care to say his name.
No.
To me, he's just the monster, the
That's
villain of
right.
the story. And so it's Shasta that I cared about, and of
Yeah.
course, her family.
And I
Uh,
do wanna say one thing. You mentioned her recall about things, about her story. What was amazing about it is I could look at early interviews with her with the FBI and all that about things that she said or remembered, and those were taken, contemporaneously at the time of the event. And then I could talk to her about things that I could map to everything. It wasn't like, here is a woman who's had 28 years or 20 years to think of how to make her story better. She
right, right.
made her story is as authentic as can be from then and now. And the other thing about her, I just want to say this about her also, is there's a sense of humor about it that I think people don't expect when she talks about, we were 8 and we were sitting there by the fire and, he was giving us alcohol and Dylan, my brother, was smoking a cigarette, and saying, "Well, I'll have another beer." She's, it's like when you see it, it seems so grotesque, but it is also she sees the humor and the ridiculousness of it,
Yeah.
as they're playing a game to survive, right?
Wow. Right, right. Unreal. This guy, his relationship with his mother was fascinating to me.
Mhm.
The some of the darker elements of it, but just the way she was with the other siblings and how he
Yeah.
created a better relationship in his mind than what truly existed.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah,
she definitely plays a part in whatever it is that made him who he is. There's no
yeah,
doubt about that, and the father too. It's kind of like all of us are the product, really, of where we come from, right? I think,
yeah.
and, all of us,
I think
there
we come here a certain way, and then our environment can shape us to a certain degree, one way or
that's
the other.
right. That's right. So, I mean, he was, I'm not gonna say that he, was anything but awful because he was terrible,
Yeah,
but I do think he had not the greatest thing handed to him either.
right.
And that's why, like, this kind of a book, I know it's hard to read, but I think that's why it's important. It's for us to take a look at all the things around us in the world that we see, and how do we connect the dots so that there aren't more little girls like Shasta who are picked up by some monster. Or thank God, Brenda, you were smart enough to get out of that situation when you were, 18 or 19 with
I
that
wasn't part
weirdo,
of
that 50
it.
that 50-year-old. Right? I mean, but it's like, but like there's moments there that I think we can do better at, and the only way we can do better is obviously you pass that down to Alexa. Don't do this. What happened to me as a girl? Don't do that, right?
Be
We
assertive
also
and say no forcibly, even when somebody's
right.
just trying to do something nice for you. That's what always gets me. Is
Yeah,
somebody's trying to be nice, and then it's hard
right.
for me to be rude or
Right.
kind in response. That is my
Mhm.
total undoing.
Mm.
So I have to understand that even though they are being nice to me, I still have the right to say no if that's not what I want. And
That's
that was,
right.
yeah,
There's so much to learn by being observant and sharing a story.
yeah.
Sharing your story, or Shasta sharing hers. It gives us, you know, a window and maybe an idea and a way to do better.
So do you think, I guess I'll say his name now. He liked being called Jet.
Yeah.
Do you think Jet's mother knew that he was as deviant as he was, or did that all come as a shock to her when she found out he had done these committed these terrible crimes to children?
Well, I mean, take a look at, like, the one sister talks about how, when the mom would leave, they would all get naked, these siblings, and, and do some sort of
Very weird.
a weirdo game that they would do.
That was
You know what
very
I mean?
weird, and I
So, I
was
mean,
shocked she would admit that, right? Like,
yeah, right.
wow, that was brave to even admit that.
Right.
Um,
So I think there's a lot of stuff in that family that we don't really know exactly. We know what the reports say. That's what's quoted in the book. Shasta did hear a little bit of his story, but he loved his mom. He couldn't, he wanted to bring Shasta over, to either his mom's place, after Idaho, or maybe to some friends he had down in Oregon. And she thought, I think I'd rather go with mom, because at least I think if the friends are anything like him, it won't be good for me. But his mom might be okay. What she
yeah.
thought. And I'm thinking the mom wasn't okay.
I wondered if the doctor who had befriended him and given him money was also deviant, and it
Oh,
did
for
confuse
sure.
me,
For
that he asked
sure.
because I thought, why would anybody support him and give him that money? And then, of course, it made sense, when you hint at that. I mean, I'm not giving
Yeah. I
away, right?
mean, yeah,
But that
definitely.
he
There,
had friends was shocking to me. Friends, and that he could contact when she mentioned he'd leave the campfire or whatever be on his phone. She thought he was
yeah,
seeing friends.
right.
Uh,
He did definitely have supporters and friends. And that's also part of, like, what coming to Shasta's story is looking at the world around us. This is to be really super negative, but there's a dark world beyond most of us and what we can imagine, right? There
yeah,
are people who find a way to be connected and to do nefarious things. We don't know that personally because we're not in that group. But
right,
if you read that book, there are multiple men in that group with Jet that
yeah.
are connected through this abhorrent kind of behavior that they're all engaging in, and that's their world. It's like we don't know about it until, Dateline or Catch a Predator or something. Somebody does a sting and arrests a bunch of people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we.
Do you know if his mother went to the trial or anything?
No, she did not.
She did not.
Oh, yeah, just the one brother did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Okay. So you already told us it took you 4 years to do the research. Is that what you said? Yeah, 4
I
years because
did. Here's the deal, because it was pandemic, it
oh,
delayed it. And I, like I said earlier at the top, I like to do interviews in person, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think that's when I'm going to really get the best information and make a connection with somebody. So it did take 4 years, and I might have done two or three other books during that time. you know, but
wow,
anyway, it did take, yeah, it took a lot, because it was getting the information, comparing it with what I had in the historical record, or whatever, with his cops or whatever, even newspapers, and then going back and adding to it in terms of, like, how do I make that a narrative? Shasta, I need to know more. When
yeah,
you're sitting there at the campground, what were you eating?
yeah.
And she, well, fruit
Oh,
cocktail is all we
this
had.
also came.
Right? And I
Gosh,
wanted to say, well, did you ever get the cherry? Because when we were kids, that canned fruit cocktail, Del Monte or whatever it was, we wanted that damn cherry.
I actually avoided it. Didn't like the cherry. Gave that one away, but I liked the pear. And you do still keep in touch with Shasta because you mentioned you may reach out to her to get her on tonight.
Yeah.
So how often do you get to talk to her?
I haven't talked to her. We did a big book tour in Idaho, and I want you to know, like, thousands of people came out.
Gosh.
There
Oh,
was one event where I think like 600 or 700 people came. One guy said, I waited longer in line to see Shasta than I did for Snoop Dogg.
wow.
I thought
Wow.
I thought that
That's
was great.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I do hear from Shasta. She is going through some challenges, as she has for years. I mean, and she needs help, and that, there's a GoFundMe that helps her. She does get proceeds from the book, but it takes a while for those to flow down.
Yeah, we
That's
know
the way
that,
it
right?
is.
Royalties.
Um, so yeah, so I got to GoFundMe on my site if anyone wants to take a look at it on Facebook. But she does
Oh,
need
that's
help. She's
interesting.
got 5 little kids,
Yeah,
and she's doing the best she can, and she will always do the best she can. It may not measure up to what we would think is the best,
yeah,
but she's trying, and she's a fighter.
yeah, yeah. Was it overwhelming for her to be at those signings, to have to see 600 people? I can't even
Yes,
imagine that. That
yes,
was
it was.
very difficult for me.
There was one moment in a fire. We had one where we moved it. One of the events was at a fire station, kind of auditorium thing, and it was hard to get her to go on because it was overwhelming in that situation because it was an audience. Before, when it was like at the bookstore, it was one person at a time,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that seemed better, easier to handle. But when it was a big group, I think it was difficult for her. However, um, so many people came, Brenda, to tell her how much they love her or are
yeah,
so glad that she's okay or
yeah.
hope she's okay. Okay,
Right.
like
That's
her
true.
aunt, I don't know if you can see this, her aunt brought a box of stuff. Like this is like the shirt that they were all wearing at the time she was missing,
Oh,
you know, buttons that people wore 20 years ago when they
wow.
were trying to put attention on it. So I mean, there was a lot of that where people would bring cards
Yeah,
or news clippings that they had saved for 20 years. That's a lot.
that's a lot. Wow, that's amazing. So how did writing this book impact your own life? Did you think it was different than some of the other true crime that you've written?
For sure. I mean, honestly, it broke me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I this is one of the few interviews I've done without crying because it just happens to me all the time. I can even go there right now when I think about it because I think about like my whole idea about people getting better and my work being worthy,
Yeah,
because I've done this for my life. All of this is very conflicting because I think about me as a consumer of crime stories or of TV or books or whatever. And I think I missed the part of it that it is just in this case in particular that we weren't listening. We were just consuming. We were just interested in a story,
yeah, yeah,
and it's a person that is still trying to find her way. So that, like, to me, that will always be in my heart for this particular story and this girl. I don't know what will happen to her, but I don't think I will ever be the same having known her and having written about her. And I
yeah,
want readers to feel the same way, read about her and think a little bit too about you.
yeah. It definitely makes you think. So how do you clear your mind after such intense projects?
This is called Chardonnay. I'm just kidding. Oh, no, no.
We need to
Yeah.
send you one of our wine glasses that were in last
Oh, I'm
month's
in.
book,
All right.
because reality can wait and it has an open book.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Uh,
perfect.
there's no clearing of your mind except for the idea that, and I'm older, I'm 67 now, so I've been doing this a long time. And I think about, what do I want to put out in the world?
Yeah,
Because it's a job. Do I want to, what is that focus now? And I'm looking at a couple of stories that are also very painful, but I kind of feel drawn to them because I think I could do something better,
yeah, yeah. Well,
meaningful.
I think that what you've done is great. I think, like you said, sharing these stories makes people think and reevaluate some of their judgments, some of the how they handle it. A lot of the gray areas that came up in this book were hard for me to kind of wrap my mind around. As far as yes, people want to get involved to help, but you also sort of pointed out, well, some of it was because there was a benefit there. That was when she had money in her trust. It was when,
Yeah.
and so you're like, wow, there's just so much to parse through when you're dealing with something like this.
Let
So
me just add to that. The whole idea for her was this: she didn't want to be that girl anymore. The girl that everybody whispered about when she went to the grocery store or online, they would talk about her as if she wasn't a person, Oh, I
yeah,
saw Shasta did this, or Shasta did that, and without knowing her. And
yeah,
I think that's an essential part to this whole idea is that these are real people out there, and they're fighting through something we can't imagine. So maybe the book helps you imagine it a little bit, but
Yeah.
the fight is bigger.
Yeah. And have some empathy for the aftermath, not just
Mhm.
the incident. So, how do you choose which stories to tell? And what's the process of gaining consent and verifying facts?
Right. There's a lot there. It's like I pick a story that one, I don't like a story that has been picked over.
Okay.
That people like I would never write about John Benet Ramsey or somebody like that, because I wouldn't want to there's nothing more to learn, or maybe I could learn something, but maybe you or someone else as a reader think they already know.
Well, I have to tell you this. Let me just insert this real quick. I was in Moab and I was shopping at a store, and a woman, I said I was buying this tote bag to give to my book group, and she said, "Oh, my husband's a writer." And I said, "Oh, really? Who is he?" And she said, "John Ramsey." And it was John Bonet's father. Yeah. So isn't that interesting? You just mentioned
Yes.
John Bonet, and
Right.
I had just seen the Netflix special about it, and she had been in it. And then so once she mentioned, I'm like, oh, of course, I recognize you. So I
Right.
thought, anyway, go ahead. That was an
Well,
interesting aside. I thought just
yeah,
that. Oh wow, I just
you
met John
right. I mean,
Ramsey was on the series.
that's a terrible story. A lot has been said about it. I'd rather write a story that you don't know much about, and I don't want to write a story without the consent of the family.
Yeah.
And I've done it a couple of times, even recently, where I didn't get everybody that I wanted to talk to me.
Mhm.
I don't want to be because I don't want to traumatize them with
Right.
my book, right?
Right.
So there's that, and the research. I always this is my model. I always start from the outside in, meaning I'll start calling people and writing to people that are on the periphery of the story as I work my way in. The perpetrator, which is usually the killer,
Uh-huh.
is somebody I will get to at the very end because I want him or her to know that I've done my homework and I've talked to a lot of people because I know the minute I write to somebody who's close to him or her,
Yeah.
they'll let them know. So, and then interviews with the prisoner, and I'm even like on that Dateline, I interviewed him in person. That guy, it was a minister that killed his wife. I don't care what they have to say about the crime
Uh-huh.
because they always say they're innocent. What I
Right.
care about is their life story, the details about the circumstances of, you know, that I can verify
Getting
to make the book better.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that I've always had this fascination with serial killers, and I think it's because of it's not the deeds, it's the human mechanisms that go in their brain that cause them to act how they do. Like it's just such a
Yeah.
riddle to wanting to figure out why. Why? Oh, that's very helpful. Seems like it's getting very dark in here, so I was just signaling to something where I can actually see now, which is helpful. Okay, so do you ever need to take mental breaks while writing true crime?
I don't think I take mental breaks because I'm on a deadline and I and I have to get the book done. That's
Oh,
it. So I don't, but I'll tell you, there are times. I mean, when I wrote a book, it wasn't true crime, but it was about a mining disaster in Idaho where 91 men were killed on one day. I wrote a book about it, and uh, I slept on the floor for like 4 months because I couldn't sleep in my bed with my wife. I just lay on the floor because I couldn't sleep. And I think that again, that really got to me in a personal way because these were all like nice guys just going to work and they all died. And the ripple effects of it,
so
it was about that really hurt me.
that
But
that
normally I'm okay.
yeah, yeah. You seem to have a good grip on being objective and caring at the same time. And I think that
Mhm.
because you are so personable and your manner is so respectful, that I think that you are a good candidate for able to speak to these people and getting them to open up to you. So I think that
Okay,
serves.
Brenda, there are way better writers than me. I know that. You,
Oh, I think you're
many,
great.
many others. But I think that the one thing I am good at is I will never burn you. I will always respect you. If you tell me your story, I always know it is your story, but my book, and I won't let you down, and I haven't. And I think people tell me their story. If I ever did a podcast, my podcast would be called "I've Never Told Anyone Else That Before." That's what my podcast would be because I get a lot
You
of
should
that.
start it. You should
Yeah,
start it. That's great. No, you have a great manner with people. I think you're not only a good writer, you're an excellent writer, but you're that other element is what helps you get to the right material.
that's
With
right.
is just as important, right? Because you have to have something has to go in the well to come out, especially when you're writing something
For
like.
sure.
So, why do you think readers are so drawn to true crime?
You said it earlier a minute ago. You said that, when you're interested in serial killers, you want to know the why.
Yeah.
And I think that my readers are predominantly female, like 95% maybe.
Uh-huh.
And I think women, younger women now too, in my world, have come up through podcasting, through listening to podcasting and true crime and all that. And I
Yeah.
think all of them they're interested in a good story, a shocking story, a
Yeah.
story where they can turn to their girlfriend or somebody and say, I cannot believe what she just did, right? Or he did. But they also do want to know what you want to know is the why.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? And is the why a way for us to stop it from happening again,
Yeah.
you know?
I
And
think
I think
figure
that's
out
it.
why they do it, then you can fix it. So it's
Mhm.
that it goes down that road. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, and I don't want to miss the
Ah,
spill the tea section. So I want to quickly ask you what your next book is about, though, so that everybody can know to get that on their radar. Do you have a title and a release date or anything you want to give
I
us about?
do. It comes out in middle of June. It's called By the River's Edge. It is
Okay.
a serial killer case from Spokane.
Oh, wow.
And the storyline, real quick on the storyline, it was an unsolved case for many, many years. Three prostitutes were murdered and dumped by the Spokane River. No one knew who they were. I mean, they knew who they were. They didn't know who killed them.
Mhm.
And then an analyst put in the DNA after, DNA got better and better. And the hit was to a woman in a prison in Texas. And
Stop.
they said, how could it be a woman? Because, well, Donna used to be Doug.
Oh,
So it's a
interesting.
transgender serial killer case. It's nothing to do with, Donna being a transgender woman, but she said she had the sex change to stop Doug from killing.
Really? And did it work?
Well, she went to prison for the rest of her life. So maybe it did work.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's that book. That was a tough one to
Wow,
do
that one
because of
sounds fascinating.
socially it's like a hard area, but
Yeah.
also these women, the victims were prostitutes, and that was one of the cases where I could only get one family member to talk about her mom.
Yeah.
And yeah, so By the River's Edge.
If readers may be interested to know, this is something actually was surprising me. It shouldn't have been had I thought about it. But Gregg told me before we came on that there are sensitivity readers that go through these books now to make sure that they are, you know, handle things in a manner that will not be too upsetting.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, they read it, they give you a big report. They said on page 25, you said this, whatever. And if it's in a quote, they're not going to fight you on it. Um, but if it's something where you could just do a little bit of a word shift, um, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I'm glad to do it. So I've had, yeah, cultural and sensitivity readers on these books because a lot of people and your readers, on your Facebook, it's triggering.
yeah,
And the reason it's triggering is because it's scaring you or reminding you of something, or something you don't want to know about. And there are ways as a writer where we can still get you in there because the story is still important, but we don't want to turn you off by those triggers that really offend.
yeah. No, you did a great job. You handled it. The really dark stuff was handled so
Mm,
euphemistically, I felt like, and took very minimal amount of the book. It was really more about the overarching her
yeah.
life, her recovery, and how other people react to this, and what therapy, the failings of therapy sometimes, and different approaches. So anyway, great job on that. And now for spill the tea, real quick. We'll do this since we're running out of time. Spill the tea, as you guys know who are watching, is our segment where we get a little gossipy and ask some questions that maybe you didn't submit that I came up with or that we thought would be fun to ask our guests. So, have you ever missed something important because you were deep in writing?
I've missed so much of my life, all of it, because I've been deep in writing. I mean, I don't have a hobby.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a golfer. I don't fish. I don't do any of that. All I do is write. Okay. So I have missed a lot of things in life. I feel bad about that. I keep thinking, oh, I need to stop. I need to slow down and do a little bit less so that I can be more in the moment and more present. But no, I've missed a lot, and I
So,
and
yeah,
I
I just
regret it,
want
but I
to
can't
say
stop myself.
Yeah. Are you a hyper concentrator where you fall into
Oh,
something and you're just there
absolutely.
until you get it done?
It's the only way, and here's the thing, I'm very much deadline oriented. If I am really focused the last 2 or 3 weeks, month, or whatever, I mean, it's 24 hours. I mean, I'm in bed, I get up, I'm a very early I start writing early.
Uh-huh.
I write all day long. I give myself a little treat after every, you know, 1,000 words. I give myself whatever that treat might be, and then I keep going. I keep going and keep going, and my record is I wrote 1 book in, 8 days.
Holy cow. I've never
Yeah.
written in 8 days.
I'm telling you, it wasn't a good book, but I wrote it.
No, that's an accomplishment. I mean, 8 days is incredible. So have you ever done something embarrassing at a writer's conference?
Not at a writers' conference, but I have had my moments, particularly on TV. And I went on the old Sally Jesse Raphael. Remember the red glasses? She
Oh,
was
yeah.
famous in her day, and I went on a couple of times. And one time, she came to me with a question, and I freaking froze. I mean, I was just like this, and it felt like a very long time, and maybe it wasn't. I've never looked at that tape. I have it. But yeah, she said, "Don't worry, Greg, it happens all the time." And I thought, "Oh gosh, my family's watching. I'm embarrassed." But I couldn't even think of what my name was in that moment.
Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
so funny because you handle these interviews. Yeah, I mean, you're a pro, so I can't even imagine
Yeah.
that happening to you.
Yeah, it happened.
That's great. So what's the weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark?
When I wrote the book about Mary Kay Letourneau, that's the teacher.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yes.
Just hold on. Thank you. Okay, there it is. It's
Yes,
out.
that's the teacher who had the affair or raped her student,
Yeah.
her 12-year-old sixth grader. And I wrote a book called If Loving You Is Wrong. And I became friendly with the one of the lawyers, and she was a smoker. And I don't know why I got her cigarette with her red lipstick on it, and I used that, and I still have it. I use that as a bookmark.
Oh my gosh, you still
Yeah,
have it.
yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
and it's still her color.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that's got to be the most unusual thing used as a bookmark that we have
Yeah.
ever. All right. Do you have a cursed writing ritual? We'll end on that one. If you can think of a cursed writing ritual.
I no, I don't have a cursed writing ritual, but I've had many times where I have, wanted to at least go to the magic 8 ball or something to get an answer so I can move myself to the next plot point. Have you been there? You know what I
Yes.
mean? So not cursed, but I would use the 8 ball.
Okay, good for you. Well, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you, getting to hear about your journey with this book and how you feel about it, how it impacted your life. It was definitely a great read. I appreciate the effort and care that you put into it and the sensitivity. It shows you what kind of man you are. So, thank you so much for coming on and letting us read your book and signing all those
Hey,
copies.
Brenda, you are awesome. I thank you so much. Being chosen by you, I before we were on, it's a huge honor. You have a wonderful following. Your daughter is amazing with what she's doing too. So I was so proud to be part of this. Thank you.
Great. We'd love to have you back someday. Thanks so much. Good luck with your next book. I'll be looking for
All
it.
right, all right. Have fun at the after party.
Okay, thanks. Bye
Bye.
bye. And now I have another treat. We actually have an author in our book group who she works at a bookstore. Her name is Patty Diener, and she has a book out that I wanted to have her on for a few minutes so that she could tell you a little bit about it. It is called Wildflower. Hey, Patty.
Hi, Brenda. How are you?
How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you to Alexa for making this happen.
You bet. So tell us a little bit how you started your writing journey.
Oh, well, like most writers, I've been writing since I was a kid. As soon as I got, my typewriter was one of my first gifts. My family took me as seriously. Oh, she's a serious writer. Let's buy her a typewriter. And I just really always loved story. So, I just decided that I was going to do it, but it took me a long time. I didn't really take myself seriously until after my children were mostly grown.
Oh
And
my,
I'm 57 now, so I have a 31-year-old and a 28-year-old, and so I didn't publish my first book until I was 50.
oh, they must be proud of mom. Are they pretty excited? Do they read your stuff?
Well, one of them's a reader, and one of them, is a cheerleader on Go Mom, but she doesn't read much. So the audiobook might be her thing.
Oh, got it. You'll have to get her onto that. Well, what made you choose your genre? Tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book Wildflower is a little bit different from my first one. My first novel was a romance novel, and this one is more just I would consider it more women's fiction because it hits some hard notes on some things of abuse that happened to a young girl and how she decides that no matter what, she's going to persevere. She's tired of babysitting her addictive mother, and she wants to fulfill her own dreams and have her own life separate from her. So it does have a love interest in it. There is a love story to this. It's got 2 points of view. It goes with hers and with his. But ironically, the love interest that she beats on the streets of Sebastopol, California, when that summer they think that maybe there might be something there. She walks into her first period AP English class, the first day of her senior year of high school, and he's the substitute teacher. So it's a no-go.
Oh boy, I love that conflict. So what are you working on now? Are you working on another book or?
I am very different. This is not a coming of age. My last book, Wildflower, was a coming of age story. This one is about a woman in menopause who it's kind of like going to be a dramedy. It's got a lot of comedy to it, but it's also sad because her husband dies right out of the gate and she finds out he was having an affair with a college age student.
Oh.
And she is like, all the fits and twists that women go through in menopause. And then she's having to deal with that. But it's going to be a romance because his best friend, who she wants to just give him a slug because he knew about this affair and didn't tell her. But he ends up helping her along the way. And there's a lot of other surprises that come on with that. But I thought it would be fun.
So when does that come out?
Well, that one is I've still got to finish it. I haven't got the ending down.
Gotcha. And how many books have you written?
I've written 5, but I've only published 2. I have the other ones are part of what I'm working into trying to get into as a trilogy. And boy, Brenda, I applaud you because those are, there's a lot to writing a series. So I'm working the kinks out on that. That will be a romance. Those will all 3 be romance.
Oh, that's wonderful. So when you decided to write, you were still young, you were saying? You were just a child? And
I've always wanted to write. Yeah, when I was in the 5th grade, I started reading all those V.C. Andrews books. Remember, Flowers in the Attic. And when I was really young, I think I was in 4th grade the first time I read, C.S. Lewis, Are the Nodding. Was it The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? That's the one.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I was hooked on story. But then, as soon as I started reading, the Judy Blume books and then V.C. Andrews was dark and all the girls were like reading them secretly. So their parents didn't know how terribly dark those books were. But I just fell in love with story. And I thought, it's something I always wanted to pursue, but I just did it much later.
Where can they find your books?
My books right now are in select independent bookstores. I work for Copperfield's Books, and there's a chain of 9 stores throughout 3 counties in Northern California. And I also have them in gallery books over in the coast of Mendocino. I'm in Ukiah as well. There's just different select independent bookstores, but also I'm on Amazon, and the audiobook is available wherever you can get audiobooks.
Awesome. Well, I met Patty for the first time at one of my book signings.
There it is.
Yay, there she is. That's a pretty cover. Who does your covers?
There's a company called Demonza that I work with. Yeah, they do all my formatting and my book cover. So if you're a writer out there and you're afraid to get started, there's people that can help you.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining me. We are excited to try your book, and we love that you're part of the book group and that you're coming to the Meet Me in Italy Reader Weekend. So people will get to
wait for that.
Yeah,
that's so exciting. So thank you for those opportunities.
You bet. I'm so glad you're coming down, and thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Brenda. And thanks to Alexa, too. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, we are going to do our after party soon. If you're a box subscriber, it's time to head over for our spooky treat making. And we have something, I think that turned out a little chilling. Oh, I wanted to give everybody the top 10 too before I left. Where did that go? There we go. I lost track of that. Don't forget to post a photo of your yourself in a costume day or tomorrow to enter our Halloween costume contest. The photo with the most likes, so that's not something I'm going to decide, but the group will get to decide. So the photo with the most likes wins a spooky prize pack, which will be autographed copies of my entire Evelyn Talbot series: Hanover House, Her Darkest Nightmare, Hello Again, Face Off, and Blind Spot. So 5 books autographed, and we'll draw a live viewer tonight. So stay tuned for that. And then our top 10 contributors for the month of, is this October or September? This is October.
October.
It's a big shout out to this month's top 10, and that is Janet Roble, Juanita Ramirez, Star Roybal, Jo Marie Maderer, Nancy Brady, Christina Mages, Jean Miller, Nicole Duvall, Cheryl Little, and Marie Christensen. So their names will go into a hat in which we will, into a drawing. It's not actually a literal hat, but we will pull 4 winners at our October Christmas party to win a year's subscription to the Brenda Novak book boxes, and they will share that, so they each get 3 boxes. So be sure to record that you finished our October read by November 15th on my website under the book group tab for your chance to win a $100 gift card to the Brenda Novak store. And you don't have to read every month by the end of the month or by the 15th to record it in order to earn your pin, though. You can get a little behind and catch up as long as you get them all read by January 15th. You can still earn your pin and be entered to win the grand prize drawing, which is an endorsement. I was going to say. What is it? A dedication to my book. So in one of my books. So I've done a few of those, and those have been really fun. And next month read, we have New York Times bestselling author Karen White will be joining us. Poor thing, recently lost her husband. So we did not know if this was going to happen, but she has been really strong, and she's excited about our new book, and we're excited to have her. So hopefully you'll join us for that meeting. It's not going to be as late in the month because of the holidays. You guys know we try to do everything on the 4th Thursday of the month. But in November and December, we bring that up a little so that we get out of the way of all the holidays. And so in November, it'll be November 20th at 5 p.m., 8 p.m. Pacific time. So same time, just different week. So, okay, after party time, guys. Here we go. Oh, woo, we're going to be making some stuff like this. So this is just easily made with mozzarella log. And these are cheese pull-aparts, string cheese. And so you just wrap it in prosciutto, and then you can eat it with cheese. So it's kind of a chilling. You can even add, I've seen them do sliced almonds as fingernails. So you can make it pretty gross. You can add some fake blood. You can do all kinds of stuff. So we just threw this together, and we're excited to do some more at the party. So see you there.